For more, we take you to Canberra. We're joined by the Finance Minister, Mathias Cormann. Minister, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Firstly, to that news poll, a 50-50 split, a dead heat, 2 weeks to go. What does that tell you?
Well, what it tells us is that federal elections are always close, and that in this election every single vote matters. And Australians considering their vote, what we would say is that the choice is a choice between the Turnbull government with a clear plan for the economy, a plan for jobs and growth, and with all of our commitments fully funded while the budget is still on a credible path back to surplus. And on the other hand, a Labor Party which has no plan for the economy, which does not know how to pay for their promises, which has already admitted bigger deficits each year over the forward estimates under Labor, which would threaten our AAA credit rating, hurt the economy and cost jobs.
What will the Prime Minister be focusing on in these final 2 fortnights?
Well, the Prime Minister will continue to promote our National Economic Plan for Jobs and Growth. He will continue to explain that this is not the time to take risks. This is the time for political stability, and this is the time to stick with a plan and to stick with a team that is successfully implementing our plan for jobs and growth.
Now, when the Prime Minister says Medicare will never, ever be privatised, can Australians believe him?
Absolutely. I mean, this is just a desperate and dishonest scare campaign by Bill Shorten. It just shows that he doesn't have anything else left to talk about. There never ever has been a plan to privatise Medicare. Medicare under the coalition is in better shape than it was under Labor. None other than Labor's own shadow health spokesperson Catherine King was forced to admit on national television a few weeks ago that bulk billing rates are higher under the coalition than they were when Labor was in government. There's no truth to Labor's dishonest scare campaign in relation to this whatsoever. There will be no privatisation of Medicare under the coalition. No aspect of Medicare would be privatised under the coalition. Bill Shorten knows this. He just is increasingly shrill and desperate.
In a general sense, though, you can understand why some voters would be sceptical about claims like that, because we all know John Howard, the former Liberal Prime Minister, once said that never ever about a GST being introduced into Australia.
John Howard very honourably went to an election campaigning for it when he changed his mind. What we're saying, very clearly here, Medicare has been an important part of Australia for the last 30 years. Medicare will continue to be a very important part of Australia for the next 30 years and beyond. And what the coalition is doing is to ensure that Medicare is on the strongest possible foundation for the future. And indeed, if you look at our track record, bulk billing rates, which goes to the heart of Medicare, bulk billing rates are higher under the coalition. I mean, that is a matter of fact, than they were under Labor when they were last in government.
The opposition leader has cited as evidence for his claim, Minister, that Productivity Commission inquiry launched by the Treasurer Scott Morrison early this year, exploring ways to more efficiently deliver all human services, including health and education. What can we expect from that?
And Chris Bowen, when he was the Human Services Minister, went out and said that he was looking at delivering government services in a better, more efficient way. I mean, governments, of course, will always look at how government services can be delivered in a better, more user-friendly way. But let me be very clear again. There is no truth at all to the dishonest and desperate Labor scare campaign that a coalition government would privatise Medicare. We will not privatise Medicare. We will not privatise any aspect of Medicare. Medicare will remain in public hands, but of course we'll continue to ensure that the services provided by Medicare are the best possible, most user-friendly services for patients around Australia, taking advantage of digital technology in the best possible way.
Okay, a couple of other quick issues before we go. Mathias Cormann, the Labor leader during his campaign launch yesterday, said the coalition's plan, if re-elected, to hold a plebiscite on same-sex marriage would be a platform for homophobia. Do you have similar fears?
Well, I mean, that's just another ridiculous claim. I mean, we've got great confidence in the Australian people to be able to manage that debate respectfully and appropriately. I mean, clearly, I mean, this is an issue that has come before the Parliament on a number of occasions, and the Parliament has decided a particular way in order to ensure that there is a more permanent resolution to this issue. The coalition policy is to put this question to a plebiscite, to put this question to a vote by the Australian people, for the Australian people to decide, and we've got great confidence that the Australian people will deal with this issue in the appropriate way.
And finally, to the big non-political story this morning, Eddie Maguire, the football commentator, and his cohorts joking on air about drowning a female football journalist. What do you make of those?
You know, look, I'm not a commentator on commentators. I think it sounds on the face of it like an unfortunate comment.
Anything more than that?
Well, again, I mean, look, I'm not a commentator on commentators. I mean, he shouldn't have made that sort of remark.
OK, we'll leave it there. Finance Minister Matthias Cormann, thank you very much for your time.
Always good to talk to you.